Something strange sits in our past. It is a mystery carved in stone and forged in metal. We find huge blocks of granite moved for miles and stacked with perfect care. We discover strange machines with tiny gears designed to map the heavens. We see perfect cuts in the hardest rock, so smooth they feel like glass. We find tales of lights with no fire and sounds that could shatter walls. These are objects and stories from a time long ago. They are artifacts that seem too advanced for the people who made them. They make us ask a simple but profound question. How did our ancestors achieve these incredible things? This journey will look at 7 of these puzzling creations. Each one is a testament to incredible skill and deep thought. Each one makes us wonder if our story of the past is complete. Mainstream science offers many good ideas. Ramps, levers, endless patience. But for some of these objects, the explanations do not feel whole. They leave gaps in our understanding. A sense of wonder remains, a feeling that a piece of the story is missing. Let us explore these artifacts, look at the facts, and let the mystery sink in. You can then decide for yourself what to believe. These technologies are often called out-of-place artifacts. The name means they do not seem to fit the time period in which they were found. They are like finding a modern smartphone in a castle from the Middle Ages. The very existence of these objects challenges our timeline of human progress. It suggests that knowledge might not be a straight line, always moving forward. It could be that great skills were learned and then lost. It could be that entire chapters of our history have been forgotten, waiting to be rediscovered by curious minds. Our history books tell us of a simple progression: stone tools, bronze, iron. But these strange artifacts disrupt that neat story. They hint at a past that was far more complex and sophisticated than we are usually taught. They whisper of lost sciences and forgotten engineering. They ask us to be humble about what we think we know. Old books like the Bible tell stories of incredible power. One of the most famous is the story of the Ark of the Covenant. The tales say this golden box held immense energy. When carried to the Jordan River, the waters parted, creating a dry path. Later, at the city of Jericho, the story gets even stranger. The Israelites marched around the city walls for 7 days. They blew trumpets made of ram's horns. On the final day, they gave a great shout. The mighty stone walls of Jericho crumbled to the ground. These are powerful stories of faith. But some people ask a different question. Was there a technology at work here? Could the ark have been a device? The idea of sound and vibration is a compelling one. We know from modern science that sound is a physical force. A specific musical note, if loud enough, can shatter a wine glass. This happens because the sound wave matches the natural frequency of the glass, causing it to vibrate uncontrollably. This principle is called resonance. Powerful, low-frequency sounds, below what we can hear, can cause shaking and damage to large structures. Could this be what happened at Jericho? The story says the people marched, they blew horns, and they shouted. Perhaps the marching created a steady, low-frequency beat. The horns could have produced other specific frequencies. The final shout might have been the trigger that pushed the vibrations to their peak. If the ark was some kind of resonator or amplifier, it could have focused this sonic energy directly onto the walls. This is just a theory, of course. It is an attempt to find a scientific explanation for a story that seems like a miracle. It does not take away from the faith of the story. It just looks at it through a different lens. We cannot prove this happened. The ark itself has been lost to history for thousands of years. But the story itself is a piece of evidence. It shows that ancient people witnessed, or at least told stories about, a force they could not fully explain. They described it in the language of their time, as an act of God. But perhaps they were describing a powerful natural force, harnessed by a lost technology. In the year 1900, a group of sponge divers made a stunning discovery. They were exploring a Roman-era shipwreck off the coast of a small Greek island called Antikythera. Among the statue's pottery, they found a strange, corroded lump of bronze. It looked like a rock at first. For decades, it sat in a museum in Athens, mostly ignored. It was only when scientists used X-rays to look inside the lump that they realized what they had. Inside were dozens of intricate, interlocking gears. It was a machine of incredible complexity, like the inside of a fine Swiss watch. Scientists have now spent years studying this device. They have built working replicas. They have figured out what it does. The Antikythera mechanism was an astronomical calculator. By turning a knob on the side, a person could track the movement of the sun, the moon, the 5 planets known to the ancient Greeks. It could predict eclipses. It could even show the dates of the ancient Olympic Games. It was, in essence, the world's first known analog computer. The shipwreck is dated to around 70 BC, which means the device itself is over 2,000 years old. The existence of this mechanism is deeply puzzling. We know the ancient Greeks were brilliant mathematicians and astronomers. They understood the geometry of the cosmos. But building such a device requires more than just theory. It requires incredible metalworking and engineering skills. The gears are cut with a precision that many experts thought was impossible, until the clockmakers of Europe, more than 1,000 years later. The teeth on some gears are only a millimeter wide. How did they design and create something so complex? Who had the tools and knowledge to do this? The bigger mystery is why we have only found one. If the Greeks could make one of these, surely they made others. In the 1930s, near Baghdad in modern-day Iraq, archaeologists made a curious find. They uncovered several small clay jars, each about 6 inches tall. Inside each jar was a copper cylinder. Inside the copper cylinder was an iron rod, held by an asphalt plug. The design was simple but strange. Archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig thought it looked like a simple electric battery. If you filled the jar with a weak acid, vinegar, grape juice, the copper and iron would produce a small steady current. Modern students and researchers built replicas to test the idea. The replicas work. They produce about 1 volt. This sparked a debate. Did people in ancient Mesopotamia understand and use electricity? The great monuments of Egypt are famous for their size, but some of the biggest mysteries are found in the smallest details. Giza, Saqqara, other ancient sites, incredible examples of stonework. We're not just talking about big blocks. We're talking about perfectly drilled holes in some of the hardest stones on Earth: granite, diorite. These holes are often perfectly round with smooth sides. They look as if they were made with a modern high-powered drill. But these holes are thousands of years old. In the late 1800s, the famous Egyptologist Sir Flinders Petrie was one of the first to study these details seriously. He found drill cores, the pieces of stone left over after a hole is drilled. On these cores, he saw clear spiral grooves. Those spiral grooves showed how fast the drill was cutting into the stone. Petrie calculated the drills must have been pushing into the granite with immense pressure, far more than a simple hand tool could apply. All around the world, our ancestors built with giant stones. We call these structures megalithic. Puma Punku in Bolivia, the Valley Temple in Egypt, Baalbek in Lebanon. Some of these blocks weigh 100 tons, 200 tons, or even more. The largest stone at Baalbek, the stone of the pregnant woman, is estimated to weigh over 1,000 tons. To put that in perspective, a 100-ton block is as heavy as about 50 large cars. Today, moving a block that size would be a major engineering project, massive cranes and specialized trucks. Yet, thousands of years ago, people quarried these stones, transported them for miles, and lifted them into place with incredible precision. How did they do it? The standard explanation: simple machines and a lot of people. Levers to pry the stones up, rolling them on logs, enormous earthen ramps to slide blocks into position. Deep beneath the small island of Malta lies one of the world's most mysterious ancient structures. It is called the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum, a vast underground complex of halls, chambers, passages, carved from solid limestone, built over 5,000 years ago. Early explorers found the remains of more than 7,000 people, suggesting a massive burial site. But one chamber is especially strange: the oracle chamber, a small room with a niche carved into the wall. If someone with a deep voice speaks or chants into that niche, the sound amplifies and echoes through the hypogeum. The whole structure begins to vibrate. Modern archaeoacousticians have tested the room. They found it resonates at around 110 Hz. In the Dendera temple complex in Egypt, there is a series of reliefs that have sparked a huge amount of debate. They are carved on the walls of a dark underground crypt. The images are strange and unique. They show figures holding what looks like a very large, tube-shaped object. Inside this tube is a wavy line, like a snake, extending from a lotus flower to a small device. The whole object appears to be connected by a cable to a box. To many modern observers, this image looks remarkably like a giant, old-fashioned light bulb, with a filament and a power source. This has led to the Dendera light theory. Proponents suggest the Egyptians had electrical lighting. We have journeyed through a landscape of mystery. We have seen a computer from a time before computers should exist. We have seen batteries from thousands of years ago. We have puzzled over stones too heavy to lift, holes too precise to drill. We have listened to the hum of ancient chambers and looked at carvings that resemble modern technology. These 7 examples are just a few of many. Each one is a breadcrumb on a trail that leads back into a past that seems increasingly strange and wonderful. They all point to a similar conclusion. Our ancestors were not primitive, they were brilliant. So, where did this brilliance come from? Well, you know,